Hey, what's up, you guys? Please pardon the voiceover. I got up early so I could make a vlog, and the mic and my camera must have come like halfway unplugged. So this is the audio that I got. So you can't hear anything. So anyway, I actually asked the producers if I should go out and record another vlog or just do like a voiceover, and they voted for the voiceover. So that's what we're doing. So I've got a little bit of an outline, so I'm not like all over the place. And I think it's actually going to work better because I can talk about more stuff and have more clarity in this. But anyway, first things first, if you haven't figured it out yet, well, I know a lot of people show up to these videos because of the motorcycling, and for most people on this channel, they don't care at all what goes on behind the scenes with me or with my life. They just want to see some motorcycle videos. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you're one of those people, then this video is just going to be a big waste of your time. The riding is pretty dull. The conversation has nothing to do with motorcycle stuff unless, my life is motorcycle stuff. And really, if you left, I don't have any idea that you do, so you're not going to make me sad. There's no obligation to stay. This is just kind of a therapy session, so if you want the cinematic stuff, I will be releasing some cinematic stuff soon, but this just, it's not it. So it's going to be kind of raw, obviously, and I just have some stuff that I kind of want to get off my chest, so that's what this video is going to be. Anyway, if you're sticking around, you've probably noticed that it's been a little while since I've put a video out on the main channel. And I just want to explain what's happening. I've had this really weird thing going on lately. I've been worried about talking about this because, I do believe that, kind of what you put out there with your thoughts and your thinking eventually happens. But I started talking about this and reading about this and trying to put my finger on this because it's kind of getting worse. But I've had this, it sounds weird, but I've had this fear lately of putting myself out there, mainly like putting out videos. And it goes the same with like answering comments and meeting new people or, releasing those future micro rally or mini rally or weekender dates. Or going to rallies or getting invited to, to rides with friends or whatever it is. It's just getting worse. And it happens in like social situations, like just groups of friends that I shouldn't worry about, or like at church, where I just don't feel worthy, or like I'm an outsider and I don't belong in that group of friends. And it's even kind of happening in my family life where I don't feel like I deserve the family that I have, or the house that I have, the home that I have, or all this stuff. Like my wife is really good to me, and I'm just kind of a turd, like kind of like a Homer Simpson situation. And then like just in situations where I have no idea who the person is, like when I go to McDonald's and I get like a McDouble, and the guy in there is working his butt off for hours and hours, and I get my hamburger and I go home and I eat it here at my desk, like 2 feet from my bed in my nice room in my nice house. And my desk is where I make motorcycle videos for a living, and I feel really guilty, like I'm some kind of a con artist. Like who did I trick to get here? And that dude at McDonald's is working so much harder and for so much less. And if he knew that I did this, he'd probably like spit in my hamburger. But anyway, it feels like it's all going to come crashing down around me when people actually find out what I'm really like, or, how my days are usually spent now. Anyway, crashing down, those are the exact words that I used to describe how I felt work was going when my friend came into town from Florida. And it was kind of crazy because, it really got me thinking, because he was like, dude, that doesn't sound crazy. Because I was like, dude, I know it sounds crazy, but it feels like this is all just going to fall apart at any minute. And he's like, that doesn't feel crazy. I feel that way about my job, and I think everybody feels that way sometimes. And so we got talking for a while. He's a developer. He makes a really good living, like writing code and doing developer-y stuff. I don't really know what he does, but he admitted to me that he doesn't really feel like he knows that much about code or what he's doing. But he does it, and then he makes amazing things, and he writes this software, and his bosses and the people that he works with are all like super stoked with the work that he does. And even then, he still feels inadequate. And I'm like, what? Like, you feel that way? Like, anyway, for me, it's getting pretty bad. And the video thing, like, I've released videos to producers, and when it comes to putting them out on the main channel, I just get scared. Like, and sometimes I make videos that I don't even release to the producers, even though it would make money. I just delete them. And that happens all the time with scripts and ideas and footage, and it's just getting worse. So I just wanted to talk about this and kind of throw this out here. But so do you ever feel like you are a total imposter, like you don't belong? Like the feeling that you get when you walk into a motorcycle shop, or even worse, like a gun store or a pawn shop. I don't know if you guys, I have a feeling a lot of guys on my channel are gun guys, but if not, then that's all right, whatever. But when you go into a gun store, you feel this feeling of like, man, when I talk to that dude at the counter, I'm going to sound like an idiot. And I think a lot of people feel that way, like we're getting judged or like we're going to mess up everything. And that dude at the counter is going to find out how little we actually know about motorcycles or guns or whatever. And I feel that way. I feel that way on forums. I felt that way big time when I first started riding motorcycles. Like, I'm in this world where all of these people know what they're doing and, how to fix things and how to ride well. And here I am. I have like no clue. And I still feel that way a lot of times. And a lot of videos I make, I'm like, why should anybody listen to this? I'm not the authority on this. And I look at guys like Barry Morris from the Cross Training Enduro Skills channel, or Kyle Brotherson from the Dirt Bike channel, or Rocky Mountains videos that they put out, or Mr. Duff Factor, or even like frickin' Jim, who has a way smaller channel, but I seriously like look up to him so much because he's amazing. He's like really fast. He's super smart. He knows so much about motorcycles. And I'm like, man, how do I have this audience and get to do this for a living when he knows so much more and rides so much better, and he's young and handsome and healthy, and like he's struggling to make it and I'm not. Like, that's not fair. Anyway, while talking to my friend about these feelings, this stuff, I found out that it's a thing, and it's called Impostor Syndrome, and where you feel like you're a fraud. So I'm going to kind of explain that, but I am glad this is a VO because I am actually going to read some stuff to you from Wikipedia, and I know that sounds super fun for you, but if you're still here, then awesome. You can leave it any time. But Wikipedia, the sources are cited. Maybe so it's reliable. Anyway, it's talking about having to complete a task. This first part that I'm skipping to, and you either prepare for it and do really well at this task, or you procrastinate. But either way, it works out. Anyway, it goes like this. All right. Once the task has been completed, there will be a brief period of accomplishment and feelings of relief. If positive feedback is given once the work has been completed and turned in, the individual will discount the positive feedback. If the individual responded to the task with over-preparation, the successful outcome will be seen as a result of hard work. If the individual responds by procrastination, they will view the outcome as a matter of luck. In the imposter cycle, gaining success through hard work or luck is not interpreted as a matter of true personal ability. This means that it does not matter which mechanism the individual used to complete the task. Even if the outcome results in a positive response, the feedback given has no effect on the individual's perception of personal success. This leads the individual to discount positive feedback. This sequence of events serves as a reinforcement, causing the cycle to remain in motion. With every cycle, feelings of perceived fraudulence, increased self-doubt, depression, and anxiety accumulate. As the cycle continues, increased success leads to the intensification of feeling like a fraud. This experience causes the individual to remain haunted by their lack of perceived personal ability, believing that at any point they can be exposed for who they think they really are, keeps the cycle in motion. So, Done reading for a minute. For me, I make videos, and sometimes the creativity just isn't there, and yet I still have to make these videos, or I can't pay my bills. That's the way it goes. It's just like a lot of jobs. If I don't work, I don't get paid. When you own a small business, it's more so. And if I don't have the creativity or whatever, the footage or whatever, then I still have to crank something out to feed my family. So, some months I'll just bang out a video at the very last second, and I think they're crap, but then I get some of the feedback and people seem to love them, and it's weird to me because I feel really just fake when that happens. Like I've just totally pulled the wool over everybody's eyes, and it sucks because the people who pay me are, they're doing it voluntarily, and I feel like I'm cheating them when I'm not giving my very best. If I procrastinate, or if I just don't have the creativity, or if I'm just slacking off. And I used to spend like 60 hours a week at least editing and answering comments and doing all this crazy stuff to get this business rolling, and I just don't now. Like, I don't even answer comments anymore most times, and that's mainly because it's just the nature of comments. They're either praise that I don't really feel like I deserve, or they're criticism that I really don't want to deal with, or they're questions that I don't feel like I am an authority on, that I don't feel like I have the answers to because I'm not a pro at this stuff. So that means I feel like I'm letting the community down because I'm kind of holed up in this little hermit crab shell, and I don't really participate in forums or Facebook groups, or even on my own Facebook page or YouTube channel in the comments, which is kind of ridiculous. But at the same time, I don't really feel like I have anything worthwhile to contribute because, like, I'm an imposter, like I'm a poser. So basically what happens is that, I work hard on a video, then I just throw that video out there into the internet, and I never watch it again. I don't go back and look at it. I don't look at the stats. I don't read a lot of comments. I've already seen all the footage for 20, 30 hours. And I just plain avoid these videos that I put out because I almost feel ashamed of them. Like when I put out a given video, I expect... Seriously, I expect like half of my producers to just bail out because the video sucks. Like they're like, okay, that video sucked, I'm out of there. And I feel like this. I feel like I'm like conning people out of their money, and and then they'll turn on me, and then this whole crazy YouTube thing will be over. And to be honest, it kind of surprises me when at the end of every month, producers have stuck around. And what blows my mind even more is that sometimes there's new people that sign up and contribute. Like, I put out a crappy video because I procrastinated, and then people are actually signing up to be producers, and I feel like a huge con when that happens. Like, and it's weird because on the Patreon page or whatever, I'll like feel like I need to issue refunds and tell people not to sign up and be like, guys, I'm sorry that last video sucked. Like, you can have a refund, and I've done that before, and it's kind of crazy, but. Anyway, back to Wikipedia, which, yay, Wikipedia. In relationships, individuals with imposterism often feel like they do not live up to the expectations of their friends or loved ones. It is common for the individual with imposterism to think that they must have somehow tricked others into liking and wanting to spend time with them. Feelings of being unworthy or deserving of the beneficial relationships they possess. And I've already talked about that. I mean, how I feel unworthy to be with people. For individuals with imposter phenomenon, feelings of guilt often result in a fear of success. The following are examples of common ideas and statements that lead to feelings of guilt and reinforce the phenomenon. And that is the good education we were able to receive, being acknowledged by others for life success, belief that it is not right or fair to be in a better situation than a friend or a loved one, or a stranger in my case. And that's totally, like I said before, like how I feel about Gabe from the frickin' gym channel, or even the guy at the McDonald's. Their work ethic alone should mean they're more successful than I am, but that's not been the case, at least with the job or whatever. But so it's just not fair. Like, we live in a world where idiot celebrities make 100 times the amount from one movie that a disabled soldier makes over a lifetime, and it's not cool. Anyway, I don't want to just whine about imposter syndrome. I want to find some answers, both for myself and maybe for some of you guys who have felt this way before. And honestly, like, this whole thing is part of trying to solve this imposter syndrome. Is kind of like making some amends, and I've read up on it, and so this video is trying to get myself over this. So anyway, back to Wikipedia. Okay. All right. One assignment consisted of the participants recalling all of the people that they believe they have fooled or tricked in the past, and this is how you deal with it. And so that would be you guys. Like, I feel like I've tricked you guys, and I just want to kind of get this stuff off my chest. I mentioned that I used to work like 60 plus hours per week on all this YouTube stuff. And, it's been a while since I started cutting back on comments, like a lot. And I just started focusing on videos and the film tours, the weekenders, the micro rallies, that stuff. So that knocked off a lot of hours, like a lot. So, now I do a lot more riding, actually. Well, not right now since it's summer and it's like 110 outside, but with the tours and stuff like that, I do a lot more riding. And I don't really count riding as hours of working, because riding is awesome, but when it comes down to like the nitty-gritty work that I do, like editing and writing scripts and responding to messages and actually doing like worky stuff, I put in way less work now than I used to, unless I do like a binge edit and put in like 14 hours in a row. So for me, going from 60 plus hours per week and cutting that down to like maybe like 20 or 30 hours a week of working off the motorcycle, and then I make more than I used to, I just kind of feel like a con man, especially when the producers who support me are working at real jobs and putting in real hours. And I think about it, and like football players and movie stars and stuff, and they have to feel this way, right? I mean, they get paid so much to do stuff that is totally pointless, but like for me, I love movies and I love sports sometimes, and I don't mind paying money to go see them, or like watching ads to get through a football game or a basketball game or something. So, to the producers, maybe that's why like my producers stick around. I don't know. Like, there's no doubt, like I'm super grateful for the producers, and I just never want them to feel like I'm just cheating them, but I do feel like I am. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like if any of my producers saw the real me, like the eveRide behind the curtain, I'm this guy that plays way too many video games and spends a lot of times just kind of dinking around, like, I don't know. I think I live a normal life, but I waste a lot of time. And I think a lot of guys, if they saw that, they would just bail immediately. Like, I'm kind of ashamed by my life right now, because I'm not working as hard as I used to, and I don't want to share family stuff on YouTube, or I don't want to show people my house, or don't want to show people new motorcycles, because my life is really good. Like, I am super privileged, and my house is really nice, and I don't feel like I deserve it, and I feel like other people would just hate me for getting to ride motorcycles for a living, while they work really hard, and I have nice stuff, and it's just kind of insanity. But then when I look back to when I was a teacher, and I really felt the exact same way, and being a teacher is very fulfilling, or it should be anyway. Like, you're helping kids, but I think about this, and I was like, when I was a teacher, I was like, oh, this is too easy. Everybody said that teaching special education is super hard, but I feel like this is easy, and I'm just kind of skating by. So, after I finished my lesson plans for upcoming classes, I would watch YouTube and read news articles after my lessons, and while my students did their assignments in class and stuff, and I just kind of goof around with my students, like. And I always thought, man, if a principal had a camera in my room, I'd be so canned right now, like. And I still feel guilty about it, like years later, clear back from when I was a teacher. So it's not a new feeling, but as a teacher, and this is kind of the part that I need to focus on, but, when my supervisor would come in and observe, or when a principal would come in and observe, I'd do exactly like I'd always done, to kind of almost sabotage myself, like show them like, hey, look, I am like lazy, I'm a fraud, like this is what I'm actually doing. And I always got excellent evaluations from those guys. And so I asked my supervisor about it one time, and she was like, Tyler, everybody does that. So I need to kind of keep that at the top of my mind. Like, people take time off. People aren't, other people other than me, like, have leisure activities. And people aren't just slaving away nonstop all day while they're at work. Anyway, back to Wikipedia. Another article. It's called the Jonah Complex. This one's a short one, and I won't read too much. But basically, it's like the fear of the sense of responsibility that often attends recognizing one's own greatness, talents, and potentials. And for me, even saying that word greatness, like my own greatness, that just makes me feel uncomfortable, like I'm being cocky or something. But anyway, the next one. Fear that an extraordinary life would be too much out of the ordinary and hence not acceptable to others. That's why the guy would spit in my hamburger. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're a YouTuber? Like, I'm going to spit in your hamburger. It's not acceptable. And that makes sense, because when people ask me what I do, sometimes I just straight up lie to them. Like, when people are like, oh, when I moved into this house, people are like, oh, what do you do? Because it's a nice house, a nice neighborhood. And I'm like, oh, I do motorcycle marketing, or I sell things online, and I just lie, because I hate telling people that I make a living on YouTube, because then they're like, oh man, you're like some kind of YouTube star. And to me, it's like being recognized as a star of any kind gives me so much anxiety, and I'm like, uh-oh, this person knows me in real life, and they're going to find out that I'm just a fraud. Or they're going to look up the channel and find out all my issues, or, they're going to watch some of the really corny stuff that I've put out, or worse, just think that I'm something that I'm not. They'll actually be duped into thinking that I'm a lot cooler than I am or something. But anyway, back to Wikipedia. Fear of seeming arrogant and self-centered, that's a huge fear of mine. And then difficulty envisioning oneself as a prominent or authoritative figure. And that's a big one, because I feel like I really shouldn't be an authority figure on the motorcycle community. Like, when I make a motorcycle review or a gear review, I'm basically just giving my thoughts and experiences. And my opinion matters no more than anybody else's opinion, but people listen to my opinions. And that's a pressure on me, and my opinions can hurt companies, and they can also help companies. And it's like, that's kind of a lot of power to wield, and I don't feel comfortable with it. That's why I don't really do sponsorships. I just don't feel like an authority. But I was telling this to my friend, and he was like, dude, but you ride motorcycles for a living, and you get to ride a lot of different motorcycles, probably more than most people. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, and yeah, you're not a pro, but you don't suck at riding, and you have like real actual experience out there riding a lot, so people can listen to you, and you shouldn't feel like you're this total fake. And I see what he means, but there are a lot more people who know a lot more about motorcycling out there. And when people ask me about this stuff, it's basically like asking a gambler how he won at like a slot machine. It's like, dude, he really didn't do anything to do this. He just got lucky. Sometimes you just kind of pull the crank and it works out. But anyway, that's the stuff that's on Wikipedia. And maybe it's just me, but just to read that stuff and find out that other people actually deal with this, and it's like a thing, and it's not just me, it's kind of good. It's kind of like, I'm not all that screwed up. Like, that sums up everything anybody would need to know about me when I sink into these depressive modes. And so all these feelings of worthlessness and like people would be better off without me, it explains a lot. And I've kind of talked about psychosis before, where I lose touch with reality. Like, that's the extent of the depression, where it's like things that are not real are coming into my head and I'm believing them. And that's just kind of part of the flavor of my bipolar thing, whatever. But this totally sums up like the bigger part of this kind of mild psychosis thing going on in my head. And it's this thought that everything is terrible and everybody hates me, and the people who don't already hate me will once they find out that I'm this huge fraud. Anyway, guys, I've talked for a long time. Maybe you guys have felt this way before. Maybe you're kind of battling with this weirdness too. Maybe you know somebody who is, but if anything, it just kind of feels good to talk about it. It feels good to research it a little bit. It feels good to admit that I don't work as hard as I used to try to. I just don't want to be a fraud. Anyway, I watched this TED Talk about imposter syndrome that was pretty good. It's helped me a little bit, but there's a link to that in the description, and I'll put it at the end of the video as well, because I'm trying to get over this stuff. I'm trying to kind of beat this stuff, and that's what this whole video is about. You know, I'm trying to kind of get out of my shell a little bit and explain what's going on in my head, and I know some people are going to hate this and bail on the channel and unsubscribe, and producers are going to quit, but maybe it'll help a few people who might feel this way too. I really don't know, but I want to get back in a space where I feel confident in my work and like I can and I should release more videos. But with those videos, just kind of a caveat that I'm not an expert and I don't claim to be. I'm just a guy that's lucky enough to make these videos for a living, and hopefully people continue to like them. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments what you think, if you've ever experienced something like this. Comments is a good place for other people to kind of look around, and I think that'll really help. They say group therapy helps a lot because you're actually finding out, hey, other people feel a lot the same way as that I do. So I'd love to read those comments as well. And anyway, guys, I really do love you and appreciate you, and thanks for watching this huge video. And it's been kind of boring, but hey, if you're dealing with this stuff, or if you know somebody does, maybe this will help change things, make life a little better. So love you guys. Much love. eveRide out.